Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a great MachineCon 2022. Great to be a part of this event. So what I wanted to cover in the next 25-30 minutes is, I'm sure you would have gone through a lot of tech since this morning. I thought I will try to demystify, how do we take the blueprint that we have created for our organizations to clear business outcomes, share some of the experiences and some of the implementations we have done at Amazon, and also I'll talk about the blueprint, what we have used, how have we applied machine learning on that blueprint, and what clear business outcomes it has led us to. I'll also try to talk about a couple of the industry use cases, some of our customers who have been very successful in taking what they wanted to achieve and get to very clear business outcomes, and also give a kind of a framework which will help all of us decide when to apply machine learning. Is it the right fit, not the right fit? Do we have the right data? Do we not have the right data? And so on. So this is what I wanted to cover in the next 25-30 minutes, and we'll obviously have a short Q&A post my session. Yeah, so the Amazon Internet Services India Private Limited, the mission that we have for India is empowering builders and businesses to build a better India. So we keep this on top of mind whenever we do engage with customers and ensure that we're able to help them as much as possible. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Amazon flywheel. It's a wonderful concept which talks about growth in the center and ensures that we are able to address customer priorities, we are able to address our shareholder priorities as well as our employee priorities. So if you look at this, the flywheel has got a very nice structure where we talk about lower cost structures, we talk about lower prices, customer experience. So a better customer experience will drive greater traffic into the Amazon business. That greater traffic will drive more sellers who can come into the Amazon platform to sell their goods and products. That will then give more selection, and that will again drive better customer experience. And some of these things will then help to drive economies of scale and economies of scope, which will reduce which will increase the customer experience, right? So this is what we call as, the flywheel or the blueprint. And obviously, to make this better and better and to get this spin faster and faster, what we have started doing over the last 20 years is apply a lot of AI and ML to this to be able to make this more and more real. Right, so how do we do that? I'll talk about some of the examples where we have leveraged AI and ML. Yeah, so one is about product recommendations. Amazon, over the last 22 years, we have been able to suggest if, have tried out and if you have purchased on the Amazon website, you would have seen a lot of recommendations coming in. Over the last 20 years, we have been able to build a very strong recommendation engine where we are able to suggest the next best products that you can choose and buy from the website. And also, how do while we do this, we also ensure that we provide high quality products to our customers. And now with things becoming more and more complex and more products, right from fruits and vegetables being sold on the internet, there is always a constant need to revisit what we had earlier to make it more relevant to the new products that is coming into the website. So this is what a clear personalized screen or engine looks like when you try to purchase more on the Amazon website. What we have done is we have taken this and we have been able to convert this into a service in AWS called as Amazon Personalized. This again comes from our rich 20 years of experience in delivering products to our customers. Now, what Amazon.in team, when you buy from the Amazon.in website here in India, what we started doing was we also started selling vegetables and fruits, and obviously there had to be a quality check. Now, what we did was we applied machine learning on some of these products that came into us, and one was, the farmer's fresh produce. We took a couple of these parameters like the spot, like the cut, to see how ripened or unripened a tomato is, and then, ensure that we have high quality products which is being sold through the marketplace, right? So if you go back to the original flywheel which I showed you, what happens is this is about delivering greater customer experience and providing better quality products. If we have to do that, then we had to apply machine learning to ensure that we are able to provide better quality products to our customers. And what happened was this really helped us reduce the grading costs by about close to 78%. So that's the direct business outcome that I am relating to. So the way we operate is, have this flywheel on top of our mind. This is our mental model, and apply AI and ML to each part of this flywheel to ensure that we either reduce cost or provide a better customer experience or help in increased selection. I'll take another example. This is about automatic translation. So how do you increase selection? If you're able to get to reach a wider audience, then we will be able to increase our selection. And hence what we have done is we have been able to translate what's available in other languages so that people are able to understand what we provide better, and they're able to we are able to provide a broader range of selection to our customers. Another example is supply chain optimization. I'll very quickly show you how our large warehouse looks like. Now, what happens is in this warehouse, a lot of products what we buy as customers gets into each of these slots. They get packaged and then they get shipped. Now, there is a lot of optimization that can come in when we try to package these, because packaging also comes with a cost. So it does not make sense to put everything into one carton. So how do you decide what should be the size of the carton for everything that's being ordered on the platform or on the marketplace? So what we did was, we again used ML to select the most optimal package for a particular product. And what we saw was, the packaging costs can range from low to high depending on the size of the package and the materials used in the package. So this again helps to lower costs, which we again pass on to customers. That leads to better customer experience. So the point I'm trying to re-emphasize is, once you have that blueprint in front of you and you know what you want to achieve, then you will be in a much better position to see where you can use machine learning so that you will be able to achieve that blueprint and make it more realizable for your customers as well as for your organizations. Now, a lot of things can fall through the cracks and a lot of things can go wrong when you start applying machine learning. I'll talk about that a bit later in my slides in terms of what kind of framework we suggest to our customers from Amazon. What could potentially go wrong? What could frustrate data scientists? How do you get that data right from the beginning to, let's say, 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, and so on. And again, what we were able to do as a business outcome is we were able to reduce the shipment damage by 24% and the shipment costs by 5%. And this is how a typical customer journey looks like, right from awareness all the way up to service and expansion. And what we always want to provide is frictionless experiences about highlighting new content and offerings, cross-platform continuity, and creating more personalized suggestions and so on. I'll talk about one such example, which is about Nestle, where they have been able to use contact center intelligence, and they were able to provide better outcome for their customers, understand their customers better by simply doing a sentiment analysis on the calls that they have been receiving, and also understanding what the agent's sentiment is, what the customer sentiment is, and what they can do better to provide a better customer experience, and again, come out with better products for their organization. And all of this was achieved using Amazon Transcribe, which is a simple voice-to-text service, Amazon Comprehend, which is more of a sentiment analysis service, and Amazon Lex, which is more of a chatbot service, and Kendra, which is more of a search engine. So all of these services come together to provide this analysis for somebody like Nestle, where they're able to understand what their customers have been asking for and ensure that they're able to provide a better service through their call center agents. Now, what you could also do is, if, in the blueprint that I showed, if your blueprint had something different like, acquiring market segments, then there could be multiple things that could be done in terms of, having an omni-channel experience and so on. So here again, I'll talk about one such example where, we had somebody like Perfios. So if you know Perfios, what they have been, so they're a fintech company in India, and they have been in the business of making the loan disbursement much easier. So they process a lot of these loan documents, and what happens is, through the course of the last 12-13 years, a lot of these loan documents come in the handwritten format. So what they had to do is they had to ensure that they're able to increase the speed of processing these loan documents. So what they did was, given that they had to process more than 2 million documents, they leveraged what is called as Amazon Textract, where they were able to extract what was written in that loan processing document, a handwritten note in terms of who is the customer, what is the profile of the customer, the PII data, and so on. They were able to very quickly scan it. They were able to apply Amazon Textract, extract all the required information, and then come very quickly to a decision as to whether they should be dispersing loan for that customer or not dispersing loan for that customer. So what typically happens in such cases is they're able to reduce the cycle time, and they're also able to give the loan to somebody who's really in need at a much faster time than what was happening before. So they were able to reduce it by almost half of what was being prescribed by the SIDBI in India. So this is how it typically looks like. You will have, for example, Sanket is a colleague of ours in AWS. So if Sanket is going to write a document, a handful with his handwriting, then you would be able to typically get a JSON output of it, and you will also be able to get a key value output of it. So this really simplifies, and the processing can be at a much faster pace than if somebody is to read through every one of these handwritten documents and then process these loans. Again, what they were trying to achieve was the business outcome that Perfios was trying to drive is how do you reduce the cycle time for loan processing, which means increased number of customers, greater customer satisfaction, and above all ensuring that credit really reaches who really has asked for it at a much faster time than it was originally planned for. Right. So I'll probably talk about the next 7-8 minutes about the ML culture and what we have gone through in terms of working with our customers as ML culture and how important it is. So one of the first things that's really important is the leadership team of any organization should embrace ML within that leadership team and ensure that they're asking these hard questions as to how can we solve these problems using machine learning. Unless it is in the leadership level, it is very difficult to drive this top down and create a ML culture. And I'll give you one example of a different organization. This, they had this culture, 20 years ago. I'm talking about Capital One in the US. They had a team of data scientists working with them, and the way they had empowered the data scientists is they said that we will give you the data, you tell us what kind of new products and services we can come out with, right? So that is what they had. That is how they had empowered their data scientists. Now, what happened was, and that was the time when probably they were not even called as Capital One at that point in time in late 90s. So what happened was they found that there was a lot of these newer age credit card companies which started coming up in the US. So this data scientist team, what they identified was, and there were some of their customers who were moving to other credit card companies with some balance and not being paid. So what they said is, this number started growing. So they went to their management and they said that if we are able to offer a service where they are able to take the balance from another credit card company, they would be able to attract a lot more customers, and probably if they offer it at a reduced interest rate, that would really grow their customer base. And this was possible because that actually gave rise to what we see here with in terms of balance transfer, where HDFC Bank or an ICICI Bank or a Standard Chartered is trying to call each of us saying that if you've got a larger balance in your current credit card, please come over to me. I will give you a reduced interest rate, right? So this entire concept of balance transfer and newer services came from an empowered data science team who was able to analyze this data and come out with this service, which is kind of now being adopted worldwide, right? So there are two ways to do this. One is you empower your leadership team, embrace machine learning. Everyone gets enabled and educated on machine learning, and everyone talks about, why not machine learning to solve a business problem. The other way is to really empower people like data engineers and data scientists to be more creative and to be able to come out with innovative ideas on products and services which the organization can look at. And that obviously, typically when we talk about strategy, we talk about two things, right? We talk about innovation, we talk about exploitation. Exploitation is about how well you can do something repeatedly so that you really drive excellence in that execution. Innovation is about how do you empower everyone within an organization to be able to come out with new ideas, to be able to run different experiments, and then look at the results of those experiments. Is it a success or is it a failure? So what really becomes important is to embrace a culture of innovation, and through that culture of innovation, ensure that machine learning is a part of that culture of innovation. So these two have to go hand in hand, both innovation as well as AI and ML. With only one, you would only be able to go thus far. This is what we have realized and understood after driving innovation and experimentation within our organization, right? So these are about 5 tenets which we would strongly recommend every organization to have about championing an ML culture at the leadership team level, understanding what data strategy is all about, because without data, it does not make any sense. Choosing the right project to show the good results, developing your team. Machine learning is changing by the day, by the hour, and then remove that undifferentiated heavy lifting rather than doing something repeatedly. You could probably use better tools and processes to help you. So setting expectations, set big top-down goals. That's really, really important. If it doesn't come top-down, then it does not have its due importance. Be tolerant of failure. This was the culture of innovation and experimentation I was talking about. If you don't let people to experiment and fail, you will not be able to drive innovation. Take a long-term view. Please be patient with the success or with the failure, and give it the runway it requires, rather than trying to cut short something and then celebrate success, right? So success breeds success. It's really important that you celebrate success so that more people would be encouraged to adopt a culture of machine learning. Now, typically, again, what we have seen is an organization would typically create 2 silos in terms of domain experts and technical experts. That would invariably lead to a lot more failure cases than success cases. It is really important to bring these two together with a strong executive sponsorship for machine learning to be successful, because without domain expertise, you don't know what we call in machine learning, right? The features that you need really to solve a problem. So these two have to come together, and the technical experts will be able to tell you what's the right algorithm to be used. Now, understanding data strategy, what data is available today, what data can be made available easily. And the third point is really, really important, which is where we have again seen people missing out on this and organizations missing out on this. In 1 year, what data we will wish that we would have collected today so that we are able to drive the right relevant use cases, right? So this is again really important to have a long-term view when it comes to machine learning, and to plan for it in advance so that you have the right data platform with the right access control and governance, so that you're able to make this successful. And again, a lot depends on what kind of tools you have. Are you doing labeling? Is it being done by humans, or do you have a tool like SageMaker which will help you to do automatic labeling and so on? So at every point, it is really important to track this so that you are most optimized in your data strategy. The other one is about choosing the right project. So here again, I'll talk about 3 parameters. Again, in ML, we talk about thousands of hyperparameters. I'll talk about 3 business parameters which are really important. One is about your data readiness, which is obviously of paramount importance. Second is business impact. If I solve this problem, is it going to have a material impact to my business metrics? Yes or no? If it does not make sense, probably it does not make any sense to spend a data scientist's time and effort trying to create an algorithm. And then the ML applicability. So does this really need ML, or can you just solve it through a set of rules, right? So that again is really important. So all of this have to be thought through, discussed, and then you really get started with a machine learning project. Without these 3 things, then probably we would be keeping our data scientists and data engineers very busy without knowing what the end outcome is going to be. So it is really important to understand where to apply ML before you start applying ML. Right, so this is what is going to happen when you have data readiness is low and when you business impact is high, and when ML applicability again is going to be low, where you can solve it through rules engine, you're going to have frustrated data scientists. That's what is going to happen. Again, what we would always recommend is, probably would have tried it in your organizations as well, a champion model and a challenger model. It's best to divide your data scientist team into 2 teams, create 2 MVPs, look at what the outcome is going to be, and then select the best MVP. And again, down the line, you need to have a very strong ML ops practice so that you know that even if data is going to change and if data is going to become stale or you have new data coming in, your model still performs to the best levels of accuracy it was intended to. Right? So if you have 2 out of these 3 on the right side, then it's a great place to start for machine learning. And then choosing the right project as well, start with something where you will have a strong business impact. That is really, really important. Now, develop your team. It is really important to ensure that your team is certified on the right cloud practices. They are, and obviously they develop specializations. Each of these areas of ML is becoming a specialization by itself in terms of NLP, in terms of computer vision, in terms of tabular metrics, in terms of industrial equipments which you can use to identify industrial defects and so on. So ensure that you have these different levels of skills and practices going on in your teams. And obviously, it is really important because, the market out is also really, really hot. So it is important to ensure that your teams are enabled, trained, and they are able to serve your organizations. We do have a lot to offer from an AWS perspective. We have got a training team. There is an AI ML specialty certification that we offer. And outside of that, we have also tied up with Udacity, Coursera, and EDX for online learning. You could leverage any of these things. But we strongly recommend that both you and your team get trained on the latest and greatest of AI and ML so that you are more relevant to the business and you're able to add value to the business. So removing the undifferentiated heavy lifting. So what we have done is, we talk about democratizing AI and ML and trying to make it as easily available with everyone as possible. So we have got 3 tiers in which we help customers leverage the AWS platform. In the, at one layer, we have got these major frameworks of TensorFlow, PyTorch, MXNet, and so on, which is for hardcore data scientists, whether they would want to use a platform like SageMaker or run it on plain vanilla EC2. We provide something like that, and we constantly innovate where, we have got instances like Inf1, where it reduces your machine learning inference costs on the chipset. And then we have something called as the custom model builders. We have got features like Data Wrangler, Glue, Data Brew, which helps you to do 250 plus transformations without writing a single piece of code. So let's say, for example, you want to do something like one-hot encoding. You don't need to write a piece of code. 250 plus transformations like a one-hot encoding is available out of the box through some of these features. So this reduces your time to develop a model and take it to production. And then we have got the platform called SageMaker, through which you will be able to do end-to-end machine learning. And we have got what is called as AI services like Amazon Personalize, Amazon Forecast, where we provide you 3 or 4 algorithms, and you can select which one suits best your data as well as your business case. This is what we mean by undifferentiated heavy lifting. You can leverage a cloud platform like a SageMaker, which will help you productionize your model at the earliest, so that you don't need to spend the cycles of time trying to write Python code when something is already available readily for your teams. So this is what I spoke about in terms of the AI services and SageMaker. So these are some of the customers in India adopting AI/ML, and thanks to each and every one of you who have embraced AWS, and please continue to give your feedback to us so that we're able to make our services better, so that you're able to leverage AI/ML services from AWS, and each of these customers have got a very interesting use case where we have helped them. And what we try to do is we try to work with them on the equivalent of Amazon flywheel, which I spoke about. So whenever we have these conversations, let's please ensure that we have the right business context so that we are able to drive the right business outcome, keeping a blueprint like a flywheel in mind, so that we are able to make this consistent experience and return for your organization, your shareholders, and to your employees. That's really, really important, because everything that we do in ML, while we are all excited about the math, the stat, and the algorithms, ultimately it has to serve a business purpose that we are trying to achieve. Right, so how can we help accelerate your machine learning journey? So we have got multiple labs which again come free of cost. What we can do for you is we can run what we call as working backward sessions. We can understand your business problem and then suggest technology solutions which can address your business problems. We have got what is called as ML labs, where we come and do a brainstorming with you. We have got top data scientists, deep learning architects, and machine learning architects in our teams who can engage with you, help you define business problem into a machine learning problem, develop multiple models, champion models, challenger models. Again, you don't need to pay us anything for this. We have got data scientists who can do this for you. And they can work with you with either a synthetic data set or a real data set that you want to give us. And we can do this for you. And we also have what is called as a data labs. Data labs helps with everything to do with analytics and data preparation. So there again, we have got two things called as a design lab and a build lab, where we work with your data engineers and data scientists to ensure that we go deep into the data and we set the data right before we jump into a machine learning algorithm. And what we also offer is machine learning training and certification. As I said, we have got an AI/ML specialty certification, which your teams can get certified on. And also you could use any of these courses available in the market across Coursera, Udacity, to enable your data scientists to be latest and greatest on the platform, right? So this is what I had to share with you today. I'll stop